Welcome to the video. We have a threshold coming up, and I don't think many people are ready to pass it. What I see a lot of people experiencing is a slow taking apart of the puzzle, which is almost in exact opposition to the energy that we've been offered, or we're being offered right now. Things are coming apart. Things are breaking down. This has been happening for years now. It's just that the wave of human participation keeps growing and growing and growing. It's taken a while for it to gain as much momentum as it has right now. There's summer camp right there. I'd like to just read a little bit from my journal. Each time we're on the precipice of a crescendo, people seem to split off into their own personal involvements, which creates a new rift in a very curious way. It's as if they use it to sharpen and redefine any shifting as some kind of conspiracy, when it is happening right inside their bodies, in their homes, in their communities, all right in front of their faces. And many people still think there's some going back, that normalcy can be recreated or copied from the past that has already imploded, basically. People have been so ingrained with fear, the opportunity to make change intentionally is like some hard to reach phenomena that is really all we can do. We literally cannot stay the same. We do not have chambers to enter which stop time and development, and more so. And anyway, we don't want them. If you're paying attention to me, you want change. You don't want to go back to anything. You don't want to become the same as anything that has already existed. That would be basically a death sentence to your soul. It's ridiculous. Even the way the spiritual community speaks about this doesn't make sense anymore. There's absolutely no reason, I've said this in a video before, there's no reason to be all the way up here with your energy and not be able to have have communication with the people around you, to be boots on the ground when it's necessary. If you're so high and mighty with that energy, help the people around you. So we're at a threshold, right? The threshold is an opportunity. It's not some prophetic moment in time where the angels are going to come down and open up a doorway for you. That's not happening. You need to create the doorway. You need to walk through it. That's the deal. There's no other deal. The trick is understanding what a threshold is. We've been presented with a certain amount of energy in a sequence that is giving us the opportunity to be able to leave absolutely everything behind. And I don't mean to be cheesy, because for years and years I've been very frustrated with some people being so poetic about what they think, which is wonderful. Be poetic, but some people on the other side, the receiving end of that, are misunderstanding the poetics and are perceiving it as if they don't have to do any work, that it's just a bucket is going to be the stars and rainbows just dumped down on them. Yo, we have to do work. Huh. There's no way around that part. This is something you need to understand. But again, if you've been paying attention to me, you've been doing this work. It's all that emotional stuff. It's all of the thinking and all of the energetics where you rearrange and reprogram that whole situation. Understanding the epigenetics, and there's a whole situation, a number of situations, a pile, so many different things that I just don't want to talk about. They're not my space to talk about. What I can talk to you about is now. So when is this threshold, you wonder? Well, it's the 30th. In a recent video, I did mention something about solstice being kind of like a beginning, but you know, I didn't realize I was going to need to sit with this and speak about it until more recently. So here I am. On the way to the 30th, you get a little bit of a taste of what it might be like to go through or go over the threshold. So from now until the 30th, we have an opportunity to arrange ourselves so that we're aware of what might come up. Now, I am not you. I can just tell you how this works for me. I don't personally think there's much to prepare for, but it wouldn't be a bad idea if you can clear some time and space on the 30th to address whatever does come up if you need to. Now, what do I mean? What do I mean by come up? Every time I've gone through one of these passages, it's been a waterfall of energetics. Now, what does that mean? That means that frequencies that are new to my system, a lot of them, come in, and my body is choosing what it's going to deal with. And some things come up. What things, you say? Well, anything that you carry in your memory banks, your energetic memory banks, right? What does that mean? Well, your feelings are attached to your stories, which are attached to these memory banks. I'm not going to be technical. Why? I'm not a neuroscientist. Go find one of those. What I'm telling you is a memory comes up and your body decides, or you have a lot of control here if you can get through the emotional impact. And your system, your body, you, all of you together, decides how you're going to deal with it, or whether you're going to deal with it at all. And the way that that happens is whether or not you freak out. If you have an emotional bout, I've had so many freakouts. But also, I've had many times where I've been like, oh, so that's what's happening. It's the waterfall. What I've learned by going through this process a number of times is that the bigger it is, the more things that come up, the easier it is to deal with, although that's because you or I've dove into the emotional complexity and gone through it in a physical way. What's a physical way, you might ask? Well, if you are very adept at asana, that would work, but if you don't know how to direct the energy properly, you might just make it worse for yourself. So don't mess around if you're a new practitioner. That being said, I have worked with asana. I've also worked with crying on the floor. I have worked with artwork, making art. But that one, you know, if you're going to judge the work, don't do that one. That's ridiculous. You're you're just going to cause a second issue, right? Okay. But when it comes to a big giant threshold like this, you basically stand there and take it. What does that mean? A barrage of memory that brings up energetics that you have named and created some kind of story around. Some people call these trauma. Depends on where you're from and what spirituality you're working with, and if that process includes the thing that they call in the psychological world shadow work. Because I don't know if people realize that, sure, that's spiritual, but it came from psych, and that was Western psychology. So, you don't have to apply that kind of work to yoga, as long as you understand that I don't mean asana, the poses only. Okay. That being said, this opportunity that we're being presented with is for the ones that have been doing the work for a really long time, and you've been getting a lot of messages about how it's time to come out now. You've been kind of waiting a while. This is that moment. This is then. We've reached the moment where it's time to come out. The reason these are threshold moments is because these things because all of the emotional stuff that I was just talking about, all of that comes out all at once. And it's not like we can say what time, and it doesn't align with any kind of astrological moment, a planet conjunction, or anything like that. It doesn't align with that stuff. It aligns with where you are energetically and how you react or respond to the building of this energy in your system. So as it starts to build, what are you doing? Are you trying to stop it? Are you trying to ground it? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You might go swimming or something like that, but don't try and ground this. You need to feel it in your body. If you try to ground it, it's like you're deflecting it off, and it defeats the purpose. The purpose is that all of this stuff comes up and out all at once, and you let it happen to the degree that you're able to. Okay? That's what it is. But that's why it feels like bananas. Oh my God. It's not going to feel good. What do you mean it's not going to feel good? Well, I don't want to tell you that it's not going to feel good. It's just that a lot of things are going to come up. I don't mean to put a negative spin on it. I'm just going to let you know it's difficult. It's a lot of work for all of us. These are the kind of days that, those people that have been talking about this for years, like 10, 15 years, these are the kind of days where they get blindsided. I mean, they talk about it. I'm not making that up. But my point is that you can't shirk the system. Yeah, there's no way to dance around this. You can't go over the threshold and try and jump over the doorway. You can't. Door's not going to open. Nothing. Just it's only going to open for the people that are ready for it, and that is not. I'm not trying to be weird. I'm not trying to be a creep about that. It's just the way it is. But after years and years of going through this process, and even all of the years before that, there's something to keep in mind. We're cycling. No matter what we do, we're cycling. Cycle, cycle. Cycles, cycle. And that means that there will be another opportunity. That being said, when these energetics lift like that, you can still use it to your advantage. Go back to a video called How These Higher Frequencies Help Your Body. Might be a podcast. I can't remember because I've just started using YouTube regularly again. Or I'm trying to. That's the goal. Okay, so that being said, like, share, subscribe. I know I'm supposed to say that, but I've been not saying that. Something to consider about how this might feel. Okay, I can't tell you how it's going to feel. That would do you a disservice. It would do me a disservice. It would do the whole situation a disservice. However, tap into how you felt physically during summer solstice. It was not that long ago. I said that funny. Anyhow, take a moment, feel it out. Before I say anything else, is that how solstices or equinoxes usually feel for you? Or was it a little different? Did you tap in, check it out? I have a feeling the way that feels. I have a feeling the way that feels. How should I say that? I have an inkling the way that feels. Anyhow, there's a hi hummingbird. Hi. I see you. I have an inkling the way that feels is how the 30th is going to feel, just more, like amplified. A lot. But if you're listening to me, you've already been through things like this. My intuition is saying that the solstice, the frequency, the way that felt, the way that sequence landed for you, is a little bit of a precursor, like a beginning to the dance in a way. Now, as I record this, we're in the in-between stage. We're moving towards that threshold that I've been talking about. Now, the way this is going to feel, all that stuff I've been kind of babbling on about, is going to be unique to you, and this is by design. So it's a very good idea that you don't really discuss that. I don't mean you have to keep it a secret. I just mean that the way we use language might actually, you know, cause someone to think they did it wrong just because of the words that were chosen to describe it. And all of that does a disservice to everything that we're learning and expanding into. No, it doesn't do a disservice to what we're expanding into. It just makes it take a little bit longer because we're naming too many things that we're leaving behind instead of going forward into what is changing. None of this perfectly matches up with astrological alignments. It's a combination of overlooked frequencies coming together with the new energetics we all have been experiencing in the last few months in particular. How you respond to it is the path. This threshold of energy cannot just appear to anyone because of how society is disforming itself right now. And on top of that, just yesterday, there were a couple pretty big earthquakes. In particular, the one near Caracas was a massive blow. Let's take a moment here. Take a moment for the people. With everything in view right now, it's very difficult for your average person to take a step that would be to allow all of their emotions to waterfall on top of them on a day like this. So it's kind of our job at this point as people that are aware that it's happening, because we know what it's like when we all can come together, when we all do come together. We know. And because we know, now we have a responsibility. Now, not everybody that knows can just go out and start talking about this. I get it. I get that. Don't worry about it. But for most of us, people just hanging out on YouTube, we know. We know. We know that a lot of people are not going to be able to deal with in a waterfall of emotions, memories, emotions. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. Thank you for thinking about this with me, first of all. But all of this being said, are you ready for this? For you personally, not for what's going on out there. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have to be very specific with yourself and leave things behind. I don't mean people, I mean the way you think about people, the way you approach life, the things you choose to do and say, the things you share. Are you ready to do that part? If at any point this has come up for you, whether or not you should share about your spiritual beliefs, whether or not you should start attending, communicating, doing artwork around, all of that stuff. This threshold is a time where you can leave the things behind that are in the way of you doing that. That is what we're asking you to do. By doing that and starting to set the example, more people will in turn do the same thing. Hopefully before they're forced. But because we know now is probably a good time, at least for us. What do you think? Please do let me know in the comments. Welcome to my changing reality. My name is Fern. I love you. Go live your life.